It's time for a faction review for the Lord of the Rings Armies book, and we start off with the Fellowship. Hello and welcome to yet another video here on the YouTube channel SDF Wargaming Studio. My name is Andreas Norwegian Viking, and this is a faction review for the Armies of the Lord of the Rings book, and we start off with the Fellowship. So, the Fellowship contains, of course, the models you expect to see in the Fellowship. You have the Hobbits, you have Gandalf, you have Boromir, Aragorn, you have Legolas, Gimli, and you have Bill the Pony and Smeagol. So that's the army, the contents of the army. Additional rules. Unlike normal warbands, a Fellowship warband is comprised entirely of hero models. Of course it is. Additionally, a Fellowship warband that contains Samwise Gamgee may also contain Bill the Pony. So you are bound to contain Samwise to be able to get Bill. If the warband only contains Frodo Baggins and Samwise Gamgee, then it may also include Smeagol. So if you just have Sam and Frodo, you can include Smeagol if you want to. So that's the composition rules, how you build your army from this. And of course we should go about and see who they can ally with. So the Fellowship, let's see if I can find them here. It's a big sheet. Let's see, Fellowship. There we go. So the Fellowship are impossible allies with just about everyone. They are unlikely allies with Dead of Dunharrow, the Fangorn, of course they are, Fiefdoms, and of course also Thranduil. They are historical allies with Lothlorien and Rivendell, as well as the Misty Mountains, so the Eagles. But they also are, well, not desperate allies. What's the real name for that? Convenient allies. That's the word. So the convenient allies with Gondor. Also convenient allies with the Rangers, Rohan, the Shire, the White Council, and the Wild Men of Druadan. So lots of cool armies you can build off this. Lots of cool combinations you can build off this, and of course it's accurate from the movie and book perspective. So that's the most important thing. I think with the way the new allies rules work, you really wouldn't want to field armies that are just normal allies. That you lose your army bonus, you want to keep your army bonus. And speaking of army bonuses, this is the army bonus for the Fellowship. You have my sword. As long as Frodo is alive and on the table, or escapes the board in scenarios where this applies, all models from the Fellowship army list gain the Fearless special rule. Additionally, a force that consists solely of models from the Fellowship army list will never be considered broken if Frodo is alive and on the table or escapes the board edge in scenarios where this applies. So basically, they never take courage tests, and they're not considered broken as long as you keep Frodo alive. So let's start off with the models. So originally, the Fellowship was the cornerstone of the entire game. So there hasn't been a lot of changes going on to the core rules of these models, but there has been some changes to special rules and stuff like that. So let's go off and start off with Frodo Baggins. I won't say any points values, so don't ask. That is copyright material, but we can discuss rules and stuff like that. So Frodo's profile hasn't really changed. It's still the profile you expect him to be. His war gear is the dagger and the one ring, and he can take heroic actions, the 3 normal ones, as well as heroic defense. He is of course a Hobbit, he is an infantry, he is a hero, and a hero of fortitude at that. He can take the Mithril Coat, Sting, and an Elven Cloak. The Mithril Coat gives him +3 to his defense, and Sting gives him +1 to strength, and it's an Elven made dagger. His specials are resistance to magic and throw stones. So very basic profile, but obviously Frodo is not the thing that makes the Fellowship interesting. He's the thing that the Fellowship evolves around. So we come to Samwise Gamgee. He's a hero of fortitude, he's an infantry, he's a hero, he's a Hobbit, and it seems he's gained a might point as well as a fate point. I think it was 1/2/1. Now he's 2/2/2. He has a dagger. He's got heroic strike and heroic strength options for his heroic actions, as well as an Elven Cloak option. His specials are, as all Hobbits, resist to magic and throw stones, but he has a new special, which is Let Him Go or I'll Have You, Longshanks, which is an active ability. If Frodo is engaged in a fight within 6 inches of Sam, then Sam may call a heroic combat without using might. If the heroic combat is successful, then Sam must use the following move to join Frodo's combat. If this is not possible, then Sam must move as close as possible to Frodo. And this is on, well, you start looking at it, doesn't really make sense, because, yeah, of course, Samwise could call a heroic combat, but he's unlikely to kill anything. Well, he calls a free heroic combat. Who's to say that he's alone in that combat? He could have warriors with him. If you're historically allied with, for instance, Lothlorien or Rivendell, he could have multiple models, and as well as a pure fellowship, you can have Boromir in there, you can have Aragorn in there, and they can use other cool things to really win the fights. It doesn't say that Sam has to kill the models to be successful, it just has to say that the heroic combat is successful. Heroic combat is successful when you kill the model you're in combat with, but that does mean Sam has to kill it itself. And then you can move Sam on, and you can move the old models off and use them as a catapult, which is fantastic. I really love that special added to Sam, and it gives you some options. Then we come to the other two Hobbits, which are Merry and Pippin. They are pretty much the same, they are exactly the same, so I'll just read off one of the profiles. So they seem to not have changed at all, they still have the same profile they always had. They might have gotten an extra fight value, I'm not too sure about that. But they got an Elven Cloak option, they have a dagger in the war gear, they got resistant magic and throw stones, but they have the new special called For the Shy, which is an active ability. Whilst within 3 inches of Boromir of Gondor, Merry may spend, well, Merry and or Pippin, because it applies to both of them, may spend Boromir's might points as if they were his own. Which is really cool. They can't do any special heroics or something like that, but they can use it to survive, they can use it to wound on flukes, and it really gives you options, and they are really cheap heroes to have. And then you have Gandalf the Grey. Now Gandalf hasn't changed that much. He has some changes to him, but not a lot. So he's a wizard, he's an infantry, he's a hero, and he's a hero legend. He's still a big number of points, and his profile hasn't changed, but his strength has gone down by 1. And there's a reason for that, which we'll come to later. He's got a Staff of Power, which grants him +1 plus free will each turn. And he has Glamdring and Nardia. Glamdring, of course, is Sword, which is an active ability. It's an elven made hand and a half sword, which means now Gandalf can go two-handed if he wants to at -1. Additionally, Glamdring increases Gandalf's strength by 1 when making strikes with it. So this is the change. Previously Gandalf's strength would be 5, now it's 4, and it's only when making strikes his strength is 5. It is highly unlikely that, for instance, a monster that wants to hurl Gandalf would hurl him less of a distance just because he's wielding a sword. So I think this is a good change. And Nadia, of course, is the Ring of Fire, one of the 3 elven rings, given to him by Círdan, I believe, which made Saruman very cross, and could be the reason for Saruman's downfall down the line. Which is exactly the same. Gandalf rerolls his dice when making fate rolls. He can do Heroic Resolve, Heroic Channeling, and a Heroic Strike. His options are Horse and Cart. And the Cart has gone down by some points. But the card is fantastic. The card is a mount, so it's just a mount. It has a move of 8, defense of 5, strength of 3, 3 wounds and 3 courage. But it has a special rule. At the start of every friendly shoot phase, select a single enemy model within 6 inches of the card and roll a d6. On a 4+, that model suffers a strength 2 hit, which is the fireworks. Fireworks, Gandalf, fireworks! And it is absolutely fantastic that they've included the fireworks. I only wish that they could fire off the big one sometimes. The big one. He has several magical powers, and some of them are new. He can cast Blinding Light on the 2+, Terrifying Aura on the 2+, Immobilize on the 3+, Command on the 4+, the Protection of the Valar, which is the new one, which heals fate points on the 4+, Strengthen Will on the 4+, Collapse Rocks, which is also a new one, on the 5+, and Sorcerer's Blast on the 5+. So yeah, pretty exciting. We now come to Aragorn Strider. He's a hero of valor, man, infantry, and hero. His stat line hasn't changed at all. He still has a sword. Is a normal sword, that is. And he can do several heroic actions. I think he has one of the longest playbooks when it comes to heroic actions, which is Heroic Resolve, March, Accuracy, Strength, Strike, Defense, and Challenge. He has some options. Anduril, Flame of the West, has gone down by a lot of points. It's now very cheap. Well, very cheap. I say very cheap. You can have Sam for the number of points Anduril costs. Not old Sam, new Sam. And a horse is an option for a number of points. Unchanged, armor, bow, and elven cloak. I think Elven Cloak has been reduced to about half what it was. But Anduril, Flame of the West, an active ability. This is his sword, this is the option. Anduril is an elven mage hand and a half sword, which means you win fights on a 3+ instead of a 4+, and it is a hand and a half sword, so you can use it two-handed if you want to. Additionally, when making strikes with Anduril, Aragorn never requires more than 4 for his to-wound rolls. Not that if Aragorn elects to use Anduril as a two-handed weapon, he will still get the +1 bonus to wound, which meaning he would essentially wound on 3+. Fantastic! Really fantastic. He can just tear down things. His special rules is Horse Lord, which means he can use his fate points on horses or his mount. And Mighty Hero, which grants him, of course, a free might point each turn. So Aragorn gone down drastically in points if he wants to wield Anduril, and I used him to great effect during Ardacon with Anduril using the old rules, and this is just cheaper. I could fit more models in there. Then you have Boromir of Gondor. I think he's gone down by a few points, not a lot, but a few points. His profile is essentially unchanged. He has armor, sword, and the Horn of Gondor. Horn of Gondor is an active ability. He can blow the horn at the start of a fight if he is numbered by 2 to 1 or more. The enemy combatants in the fight with the highest courage value must take the courage test. If the test is passed, the combat is fought as normal. If the test is failed, Boromir automatically wins the fight and can strike blows against his enemies. He has Heroic March, Strike, Strength, and Defense as his options for extra heroic actions. and he has the option for a horse, elven cloak and shield. And I do believe that shield was previously included in his profile, and that's why he's gone down a few points. But there are models of Boromir without the shield, essentially in Amon Hen, which means you can use the models. What you see is what you get now, which is fantastic. And again, the elven cloak has gone down by a few points. Next up is Legolas Greenleaf. He's gone up by a few points. His profile is very much unchanged. But his change comes in his special rules and a few other things. So he's a hero of valor, elf, Mirkwood, infantry, and hero. And he has gotten elven made daggers, which essentially means that they're not just daggers, they are now elven made, so he wins the fights on 3+ if it's a draw. He's got heroic accuracy and heroic strike in addition to the 3 normal ones, and he's got the option for horse, armor and elven cloak. He's got the woodland creature special, because of course he does, and he's got the deadly shot ability, which is active. He may fire 3 times in the shoot phase rather than once. Each of the shots can be made against a different target. Alternately, Legolas may instead choose to make 1 shot, but in this case it will always hit on a 2+. So, not auto hit anymore, he'll hit on a 2+. If the target is engaged in combat, in the way tests, other things, magical powers, so forth, he always hits on a 2+. If Legolas uses this one to shoot a target cavalry model, he may choose whether this hits the rider or the mount. And the fantastic inclusion of a new special rule, which is linked to Gimli. His rule is Final Count 42, taken straight out of the Two Towers movie. Active ability. If Legolas and Gimli are in the same army, then keep track of how many models they have both killed. If at any point Legolas has killed fewer than Gimli, Legolas' shoot value is improved by 1. So he now hits at 2+. Fantastic. Leaving us with Gimli, he has also gone up by a few points. His profile is unchanged. He's now gotten heavy dwarf armor, a master forged 2-handed axe, which means he basically gains burly, 2 axes and throwing axes. He's got heroic actions, heroic strike and heroic strength, and an option from elven cloak. His special rules are axes of the dwarfs. Active ability. At the start of each fight, Gimli can choose to use either an axe in each hand, in which case he fights with 3 attacks, or use his 2-handed axe. And then his special rule, which is linked to the Legolas special rule, and I think you know what's coming. I myself am sitting pretty at 43. If Legolas and Gimli are in the same army, keep track of how many models they've both killed. If at any point Gimli has fewer kills than Legolas, then Gimli receives a +1 bonus to wound. Strength 4 with +2 if he goes 2-handed. Fantastic. I really love it. He's a hero killer. So keep shooting at the infantry with Legolas, and then make Gimli kill the heroes. Perfect. So now we come to the support cast, which is Bill the Pony and Smeagol. First up, Bill the Pony. He's gone down by a point or 2. Yeah, well, a few points. Still the same profile as he used to, I think. He might have gone up by a defense point up to 4. I'm not completely sure. But yeah, he's got the special rules that official meals, passive ability, Hobbit models treat Bill the Pony as a banner. Second breakfast. Each turn a single member of the Fellowship that ends their move in base contact with Bill the Pony may attempt to regain a point of might, will, or fate. Spent early in the battle, roll the die and a score of a 5+ this time. This point is restored. So previously it used to be 6, now it's a 5. And he's only a pony. Passive ability. Bill the Pony may never charge an enemy model for any reason, and no other model may use his standfast. He may, however, benefit from the standfast roll of a friendly Hobbit model. Doesn't say hero, but it should be. Lastly, Smeagol. He's a number of points. He's an independent hero, and I don't know. He's got move 5, fight 4, 4+, strength 4, defense 4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 4 courage, 1 might, 0 will, and 1 fate. He's got strong strangling fingers, who is never considered unarmed, ever! Exclamation mark. He got the Cave Dwell special rule, and he has the ability Serve the Master of the Precious passive ability. Smeagol may only be taken if Frodo is also in the same army. Yeah. So that is the Fellowship of the Ring army. And I used this army at Ardacon, albeit in the old rules. I think heroes have gotten better. Magic has gotten poorer, but as a warband in itself, I think the Fellowship is a more strong contender for a cool army. Well, it is a cool army anyway, but better army. So yeah, I might try out this army in an upcoming video, something like that. We might have something special for our patrons if the poll keeps doing what it's doing, and I might do a Fellowship army against something else using the new rules. So, thank you for watching this video. Keep a lookout for our next video, which will feature the Shire army. Until next time, I've been Andreas, Norwegian Viking, and this has been my review of the Fellowship changes for the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth strategy battle game. Well, just the Middle-earth strategy battle game now. Please comment, like, share and subscribe, and do consider supporting STF on Patreon using the link in the description below. It is a fantastic way for you to support our efforts here at the studio, and it gives us the monetary means to expand, improve, and give you more cool videos each and every day of the week. So if that's at all interesting for you, click the link in the description below and you'll be taken to our Patreon page. But more importantly, support your hobby.